Today we're talking Barrel King and maybe their most interesting release they've done to date. This is their BouRye. What is it finished in? You're gonna have to stick around for that. Let's do this. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Greatly appreciate all the support. So like I mentioned on the intro, so this is something new that they're starting to do, which is the BouRye. And you're gonna wanna know a little bit about this. And I think by the time we're done with the video, it's gonna be a bottle that you're gonna once again want from Barrel King. So what exactly is this? So again, this is the Barrel King BouRye. Don't let that label fool you. There will be some different labels coming on this one as well. But this is specifically coming in at 116 proof or 58% ABV. Here's the mash bill on this. This is going to be 90% 6.5-year 95.5 rye, 5% 7-year 21% rye bourbon, 5% 6.5-year 45% wheated bourbon, then finished in Laird's Apple Brandy Ex-Bouron Barrels. So it is non-age stated and comes in at $135, or if you're part of the gold membership, this is a bottle that you'll have coming your way as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the color on this bad boy. So as you can see, this is a beautiful, beautiful, deep, rich, kind of almost mahogany type of color. Again, moving that whiskey around in the glass. Again, beautiful oils already forming on there, non-chill filtered as always. So, all right, why don't we go ahead and dive into this? Oh boy. So when I sat down with this prior, very, very interesting nose on this. My first thought on this was this apple cider donut. Oftentimes I'll get those and they'll be sprinkled with either cinnamon and or sugar. And that's what it brought me to like immediately. So fantastic, kind of rich, decadent nose right out of the gate. I'll even say some beautiful kind of mint notes. This mint note on this is almost if you tore a piece of mint leaf and smelled it. There's some real nice, just intense like mint oil, something along those lines that just smells rich and fresh. Here comes that rich, sweet oak presence on this. These baking spices on this smells as though this donut just came out of the fryer, sprinkled with that cinnamon, sugar, maybe even some nutmegs, things along those lines. Beautiful, beautiful nose so far. It smells like, if I could describe a bit of a fall in a glass, this is what it's kind of bringing me to. It's just a beautiful, rich, decadent, sweet, savory kind of nose so far. Yeah, and for some reason, I'm picking up a little bit of this butterscotch note, which kind of came in a little bit late on the nose for me. More importantly, let's see how this one's going to taste. Cheers. Again, that beautiful apple cider, cinnamon, sugar, nutmeg donut. There's something about this that is just resonating fall in a glass. It's just a sweet, savory, absolutely love the oak on this. That fresh mint, as though you tore that mint leaf, is really there, kind of like a mint oil, something along those lines. Just think like kind of rich, decadent, those sweet notes, nice baking spices, dark chocolate. Again, that combo of the chocolate and the mint kind of makes you think a little bit of like an Andes candy, but more of a higher quality type of candy. The chocolate on this is much more of a dark, rich chocolate and more of a fresh mint on that. More of those cider notes are kind of starting to come out a little bit in this. Much more of that kind of apple aspect to it. But you never lose sight of the baking spice. Again, that apple cider donut. There's just this overall richness and decadence that's going to make this an extremely, I think, popular BouRye. And again, that's already kind of an interesting mash bill, but to then take that and age it in those Laird's Apple Brandy Ex-Bouron Barrels is just allowing for this to be an absolutely incredible BouRye. I will say one thing is that the oak on this is balancing very well with the sweetness that's there. You're still picking up those oak notes. Again, it's not over oaked by any means, but you're getting a little bit more of that rickhouse effect, that barrel char, combined with apple cider donut, baking spices. It's just an extremely balanced, finished BouRye. You know, and one thing oftentimes that you never want to lose sight of is the mouthfeel. Again, like most of their whiskeys, are generally very oily, mouth coating. It allows for all of those flavors to linger, which helps to lengthen that finish, which everyone who enjoys a great whiskey, you know, wants. That is just one of those things that when you get all of those aspects that are leading up to the finish and it's nice and long and allowing that to linger, it just makes that feel as though it's the perfect sipping bourbon. Those rich, almost like buttery notes, and I'm thinking buttery just because of how oily it is, how it sits on the palate, really gets there to the mid back of the palate. And again, that's important. You want those flavors to linger, which again allows for that nice long finish. And all of those flavors that I've been describing are all continuing to just linger there on the palate. I think this is just going to be one of those whiskeys that becomes one of those maybe top whiskeys in all of 2023. What this thing has going on and the balance, the finish, it's not over finish, which is nice. You want those lingering, you know, bourbons, rye notes, all of that to kind of be, you know, present with just that enhancement of the finishing barrel, which this has perfectly. So what it is that Jared did with this BouRye and finishing it in those Apple Brandy barrels, absolutely fantastic. So I think anyone who is able to get their hands on this as part of the gold membership or later on down the road through purchase, you're getting yourself one heck of a whiskey here, I'll tell you that. So if we talk a little bit about the finish on this, again, it's a lot of what I've been describing. All of those kind of apple, cider, cinnamon, sugar, nutmeg, nice sweet rich oak, nice fresh mint notes, all just balanced very well, all carry over to it being a nice long finish and something that you're really, really going to enjoy. So I'll be interested to hear people's feedback when they get their hands on this whiskey, how it kind of develops for you. Come back, let me know. I'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this whiskey. And in my opinion, this is going to be one of those whiskeys that factors heavily into the possibility of one of the top whiskeys in 2023. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. Greatly appreciate it. Again, this is a whiskey that I think is going to factor into one of the top whiskeys in 2023. And again, please come back. Let me know your thoughts on this. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I have linked in the description below. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. More importantly, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.